and welcome to this short, hopefully short video, kind of discussing where mind maps can be positioned with respect to productivity tools. There are quite a few tools out there for managing project tasks, your daily calendar, notes, and whatnot. And of course, I'm not going to cover all of them. Some of them you're very familiar with. Even some inboxes will allow you to do these things with your emails. There are things like Google Keep, Trello, and whatnot. In general, when it comes to project management, let's say one of the popular things is like Trello. Trello and similar applications, I believe Asana kind of looks like this. To some extent, software development dedicated applications like Jira or Devops kind of resemble this, in which you have certain columns which show progress. And then you have these columns can also show categories, or you can have columns plus categories cutting across the screen. So it's just a way of organizing things. And sometimes these elements are called either tasks, if they're very dedicated, or cards, if that's not very clear. For example, with Trello, this is like some of my things that I was working on, and this is a card. It can have notes, it can have links, it can have checklists, because your card may have multiple types of tasks. It can have labels and whatnot. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but these are very easy to move around. Usually you can assign them to other people. Almost always you can include other people and assign them tasks, due dates, and whatnot. Now, another application that does this comprehensively is Clickup. So Clickup is kind of midway between these things. It can give you lists of tasks that you can keep adding. It can give you a board structure, just like you saw there. You can customize and everything, and it can give you calendars and burn-down charts and whatnot. Now, the thing that kind of introduced me to mind maps was this whiteboard functionality of Clickup. And I really, really, really loved it because it just gives you this fantastic way of just quickly adding ideas and growing relationships and hierarchies and whatnot. But what I did not enjoy too much was that this felt like it was a tool as opposed to something that is fundamentally the core of the management tool. This is where dedicated mind map applications come into the picture. So with something like Mindomo or its competitors, they have been kind of going from the free thinking to structure and task management. Whereas the other applications are usually like, okay, you want to run these types of tasks, this is the type of structure you're going to need. And there's place for that because I use multiple systems, which I would kind of recommend if you have the time and energy to use multiple systems for different things. So for example, like visualizing my weekly tasks, I think is more natural in a rigid structure because days of the week are not changing. Like I'm not going to need to move Tuesday around. It sits right between Monday and Wednesday. So a rigid structure there is fine, and the ability to quickly move things around in a calendar, those are nice. So I keep that in my inventory. But when it comes to breaking things open, creating ideas, managing complex tasks, analyzing different things, learning, I think mind maps are a fantastic way to get started, and they cover a lot of the task management aspects as well. For example, here, this is a board I cover in one of my classes, is my, sort of like my CRM, where I have different distributors across different countries, but I've added all these notes, this visualization, this structure that is very organic. I've turned this into a presentation. Good luck doing that with one of the other tools I mentioned. And I can kind of do task management as well because some of these will have dates, which I erased for now. I can add links just as I added to the card. So this is actually, I think, now catching up, even surpassing, in my opinion, surpassing some of the project management tools out there, because it is actually a great way to explore new grounds, to break open new applications, and it is far more flexible. And then you can kind of make it more rigid as you go along, like you can kind of impose structure later. In my opinion, this is a must. If you are into managing your tasks, managing a project, your personal, let's say, growth, learning, you get stuck on something, or you're trying to break down a complex, let's say, literary piece, anything. This, I believe, is a must in your toolkit. And then you supplement this, in my humble opinion, with something similar, more similar to Trello or Devops, with a more rigid structure that you can maybe share with other people. Because one of the things about graphs is that kind of reflects you, and when you include other people, they might want to see more structure or a different structure they have in mind. So combining multiple, let's say 2 of these tools, I think is the best way to go. But if you're not sure where to begin, if you just want to kind of experiment, if you want to really see what is possible when you add such a toolkit, I think this is where you should start with the mind map, the concept map. So those are the ways that these tools are related. In summary, I would suggest a combination because for certain types of things, the structures are already known and it's already known by multiple people. For example, if you create a Trello board to have a Kickstarter campaign, which is how I got introduced to it in the first place, then you can even get a template that shows you the videos, the ad campaign, banners, and everything, and everybody knows where everything goes. It's really structured really well. But if you really want to come up with a good idea or develop a very interesting, unique Kickstarter concept or project, or let's say a board game or like an art exhibit, something, I think you should start with the graph and then carry it over. That would be the way I would go. This is how I kind of compare the different types of tools. But in summary, I think this is where almost everyone should start, and always keep this tool. Like, this should always be in your arsenal. Thank you, and see you in another video.